Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Factorio. And I'm here yet again with Rotype. And what do we have for this episode?
Well, this episode, we are going to start on the long path that eventually ends up with trains and robots, which is exciting. This is the fun stuff we're really getting to now.
And the first thing we're going to do, I believe you mentioned, was do engines, correct?
That's right. The beginning of all of this kind of starts with engines because engines power pretty much all of those things I just talked about. Trains, robots, they all start with an engine unit is what the game actually calls it. And that's how the pretty much everything gets started. Now, this is going to look like overkill when I get started, but it'll make a lot more sense probably in a little ways from now, but I actually placed this in a bad place.
Now I have one
You'll witness
question.
Yep.
When I open up my inventory, my crafting inventory, and I see where the engines are, why is it that the engine is in red and I can't actually build that myself?
That's because there are some things, like pretty much a lot of things on that page, that particular intermediate products page, you see a lot of them that are red. Those are things that you can't do in your pocket. Now, the top row is all liquid things. Like you can't make sulfuric acid in your pocket
Well, that makes
and all
sense.
these other things. I mean, it makes sense, but you can also make an entire assembling machine in your pocket or a steam engine in your pocket, which kind of doesn't make sense. You know, it's some kind of weird logic, but all of the things in red you can't make in your pocket. And so you need either a chemical factory or a, what do they call it? Chemical plant, which is what those top liquid type things need. And then the engine unit, I don't know why they decided you can't do it in your pocket, but you can't have to do it in a machine. So that's why
Okay.
it's red.
And it's kind of a progression thing, I would guess.
Yeah, so some kind of balance. You know, if you could make an engine unit in your pocket, you could rush to cars and trains right away, which kind of sounds good to me, but I don't know. I guess they don't want you doing that or something.
Okay.
So,
So what I'm
yeah.
seeing, the ingredients we need are steel plate, we need an iron gear, and also need a pipe.
Right. So this kind of is going to use a layout that I kind of used a little bit before back on our jack of all trades kind of line over there to the left, where I'm going to put gear wheels and pipe on the same output and then just turn that around and run it up our next line. So that's what I'm kind of setting up here.
And while you're doing that, I'm bringing down the resources because I know we're going to need steel plate, so I'm just bringing that on down so that we have easy access to it.
Right.
And one thing that I have tried to do, I don't know, did we cover this on camera or not? I tried to, me and Rotype went through and tried to clean up the bus because it had more of a meandering profile, and instead we're trying to make it more of a straight through line.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that. There's obviously a lot more to be done. And yeah, it does look still a little bit haphazard. It'll look a lot better when we get all four lanes of a particular material. So the iron on the very bottom only has the one lane. Eventually it'll have four and it'll make sense as to why everything is spaced out this much. But yeah, you know, for now it does the job.
Now you will need iron plate as well.
Right, iron plate, that's what this one kind of sticking down one is. That's where the
Okay, I'll get you the iron plate.
Another thing that we just got, which I find awesome, is the extra toolbar research. So down on the bottom, you'll notice now you'll have a second toolbar.
I was just noticing that.
Yep, and so you can lock things on it just the same as the regular toolbar we've had. And to switch between them, you kind of have the top one and the bottom one. Well, you can deal with the research later. You push X and you'll switch which one is like your active one. And the one on top is what your hotkeys correspond to.
Now, I know we discussed this in the last video, but I always forget. How do I lock an item in my toolbar?
You put it where you want it and you middle mouse button.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It.
I get in the habit of shift clicking things and now.
Yeah, different games, different ways.
Well, I meant this game. You shift click a lot of things.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, to pick things up.
Okay, so.
Yep, and I have no assembling machines. grab a bunch more of these.
Oh, I have a few. Where would you like them placed?
I grabbed a whole bunch. The nice thing about our little
Oh, yeah, that's right.
manufacturing line is I can just go grab them. Don't want to have to deal with it anymore.
All right, I think I have this lined up. Oh, well, it helps if you have the belt going the right way.
Now, okay, so here we'll have, and I haven't counted these yet, but we'll build this big long line of engines, and then on the other side we'll do steel will come in here, and then green circuits on the rightmost one. And I know green circuits aren't needed for regular engines, but I'll explain in just a moment why I'm bringing them down anyway.
Okay, there goes the plate. And where do you want the steel? Do you already have that line made?
The steel, out of the two belts that are next to each other, I would like the steel on the left one.
Left one, gotcha.
The one that's slightly longer. And so the reason, I guess I can talk about this now, even though I'm not building it yet. The reason I'm bringing the electronic circuits in as well is because you do use engines for a fair amount of things, but you use them even more so for electric engines. And so that makes it much easier to just set up this line to make electric engines almost immediately after the engines. And what'll usually happen is you'll get a bunch of electric engines and then they'll get backed up. And when they get backed up, then you'll make regular engine units. So when you need engine units, they'll still be there. You kind of put like an overflow buffer chest that'll just capture anything that's left over. Oh, good. You're doing polls.
I have a question for you. Is there a way in this game to ever be, what is the word I want to say? Sustainable energy build so that, not sustainable, pollution free. That's the word I'm looking for.
Entirely pollution free? No. You can get pollution free electricity with solar panels, which we are still a decent ways away. But the miners always give out some pollution, and I believe even, yeah, so if you hover over these assembling machines, you can look on the right and you'll see pollution 2.4. So even just the machines themselves emit some pollution. And I believe actually the biggest source of pollution, it's probably the boilers that we put before our steam engines, but maybe the second biggest pollution is the smelting. So turning the ore into, the plates or whatever, that's always going to cause pollution. And then there's really no way around that.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't really think about it. There's no like electric smelter. It's always coal fired, right?
There is an electric smelter. I think it still causes pollution.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Could be wrong. Eventually we'll get to electric smelters, but I think they still do cause a little bit of pollution. Okay, so these will come down.
And then you need green circuits, right? But that's not paramount for the moment, so.
No, we don't even have the research for electric engine units, which I'm going to queue up right now because we're talking about it and I want to build them. But yeah, that's not of utmost importance.
Now, technically, the way that I built this, I will eventually have to modify it because, again, to try and do that, bring the circuit straight through bus principle, I would have to put an underground belt. But I haven't done that yet because we don't need it. Now, I'm sure you feel a little bit different about building things the right way the first time, but...
Well, it really... In my single player that I'm playing right now, I'm having a problem where I've spent a whole bunch of time building the bus out, kind of like what we're doing now. And in my single player, I'm a little bit ahead where I'm now ready to organize the bus the way I want it to be with the 4 lanes of everything. And I'm just spending so much time going through and putting underground belts down. And I'm realizing that it would have been faster overall to just do it that way in the first place. So more by convenience than by any kind of aesthetic rule or anything.
Now, this last row of assembly machines, this is for...
This is for electric engine units, which is
Oh,
not
okay.
even researched yet.
Gotcha.
So the way you'll notice that I put the engine units, the regular engine units, on this belt. So, and this is also the belt that I said I want greens on. We don't need too many of those. So depending on where the greens exactly come from, basically what I'm going to do at some point is say, let's just do this and bring the greens in like this.
Oh,
That
okay.
way the greens only end up on the one side. And then this belt can be shared between the green circuits on the left of it and the electric engine unit on the right. And then these are the regular engine unit on the right. These electric engine units will require both of those ingredients, so they'll just have them right there on the belt, both of them. I'll go ahead and just place the inserters for that. Oops.
Oh, I was going to, but then I figured we didn't need it at the moment.
I mean, in a couple seconds here, it looks like our research will be done. So the first thing, actually, do we have the research for cars yet? We have the research for, oh yeah, we do. Okay, good. So now we have this pile of engines. I'm going to suck up a few for myself, and we can build cars. And this is fun. So I'll build you a car because I have extra engine units.
Oh, no. I want to build my own. Oh, that's, no.
Well, I can build more. I mean, there's no limit on.
Well, I'll at
have no
least
fuel.
look at what the production
I'm
costs
going to
are.
take this one because it has fuel in it.
So it's 8 engine units, 20 iron plates, and 5 steel. That seems pretty straightforward. It's mostly the engine units. That's a lot of engine units, actually.
Yeah, it's not like a real car where you only need one. For some reason, you need 8, and trains need 20, which I guess if you count the size of a train's engine, maybe about 20 times the size of a car's. But now we have cars, and as you can see, I'm already on the other side of the map. It's so much better to get wherever you're going.
Now, I'm
with cars.
noticing that the car itself has its own weapon.
Yes, it does. And we haven't really talked about weapons or ammunition or anything about that yet because we're in our peaceful mode. But yes, the car has a machine gun on it that takes the regular ammunition and the piercing ammunition, which is kind of like level 2.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about this more in depth when we talk about ammunition. But
How do
it
I get in the
doesn't
car?
oh, I believe the default is either tab or return, and you can check your options menu. Try both of them when standing next to it. One of them will work.
Got it. That's kind of an awkward control return considering everything else is...
So it used to be tab, and I changed mine back to tab because that's what I was used to. And I don't remember which update, but one of the updates changed it, and I didn't like it either. I thought it was weird. I kept standing next to it and pushing tab and not getting in, and it wasn't working. So
What is
it's
tab
configurable?
What does tab do now? Anything that you're aware of?
I don't know that it does anything, but I could be mistaken. I mean,
Oh, I ran out of my pickaxe.
If you rebind it to or your vehicle enter to tab and something else is already bound, it'll ask like, oh, you want to change it from whatever it was. I either didn't care or it didn't happen to me, so yeah, the car is fine. It's sometimes kind of hard to drive, and you can kill people by running them over. That's the thing.
And yours is already taken damage, it looks like.
Yeah, I ran into a tree. That is also a thing that happens a lot. And
Yeah.
we've been talking about, complaining about ways of chopping down trees. You can bash through trees. It's a way, but your car usually takes so much damage that it's not really worth it. But you can see if I can aim, oh, I missed. So yeah, I just, destroyed a couple trees, but my car is now damaged.
And I just built a repair kit, which is going to allow me to repair a car. So if you hop out, I can... I guess you don't have to hop out.
Yeah, so you'll notice you hopped out of your car and it's still going. You generally want to stop them before, because they will just take off. You can rev it up to full speed and just jump out and it'll take off.
Okay, so yeah, to repair, I just click the repair kit and then click the item I wanted to repair.
Yep, it's a pretty simple process. And I believe we have repair kits being made automatically. The cars will just blow up when when their health is gone, either from the enemies or if you run into too many trees. You will survive. You'll just kind of be plopped out onto the ground. So that's kind of nice, at least. Now, I believe, let me check our mod list, because I believe we have a mod that helps with the cars. Actually, I don't remember how to check the mod list from once we're in the game.
All right, so I'm noticing when I look at the electric engine, which we have just researched, We have another resource that we need that is one of these red ones.
Let's
So,
see.
are we going to get into the liquid production in this series of videos at this point?
Yes, I believe that is probably one of the next things we need to cover. Well, you can do one of two things. We can either get into oil, which will take probably a few episodes to talk about, because this green input is a oil kind of sub product, I guess I'll say, called lubricant.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll talk about how to get oil, how to store it, how to transport it, how to make lubricant, and all the other things. That's kind of one branch we can go down. Or before that, we can talk about trains.
Oh,
Because that is the
trains.
other.
We got to do trains.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're right. Mouse and I were talking before we started this episode. We are a little bit low, and conveniently I have a car. I'll just go over here. We are a little bit low on our raw materials. Our ores are starting to run low. And the next way to get more, you can obviously, I guess, transport belt them all over the place. But because of the RSO mod that we have, the raw materials are spaced out a little bit more than normal to encourage using trains. I mean, this is the way I like to play. Frankly, this is the way a lot of people like to play. Trains are really cool and really fun. So,
So where I'm sitting right here,
here,
we have a ready supply of iron, copper, stone is here, but that's not the big concern. We also have, if we take a look at the map, we have a decent sized coal deposit right above some of our already our production line. So what do you say? Do we do iron or coal as our first objective?
So let me see. I'm over near our current coal deposit, which is backed up. We have plenty of coal for now. Eventually, it will be a concern because coal supplies fuel for our power system. So you really, you're kind of concerned about that. But we have some miners that are turned off because the belt is full. So I'm not worried about coal right now. And it looks like, actually, now that I'm looking at it, it looks like some of our iron miners are turned off as well, even though we have an iron shortage. And that is simply because our belt is too slow. So this is actually an excellent time to talk about belt speed and kind of throughput issues.
All right,
Unfortunately, I don't have any. If you're over there, bring a whole bunch of red belt.
All right, I'm going to get that in a second. I think I remember where that is. Should be on the production line right over here.
Yeah, so basically, I'll talk about it kind of in general terms until you get here. Oops, and accidentally unpower the entire system. You can see here, or if you're looking at my screen, you can see that some of our miners are turned off. This one is turned off because it's mined out everything. So that's these two on the end. So I'm just going to pick those up because they're not mining anything else. Now, the rest of these are either mining,
that's what I was looking.
Or there are some here that you can see the expected resources, 8.4 thousand, but you can see they're not moving. And the belt in front of them is just chock full of ore. And they're not moving because they're not mining, because there's no place for them to output because the belt is full. Now up here, I have two belts running up, and you can see they're completely full. And then that gets reduced to one belt, which is completely full, obviously, because two full belts reduced to one, you're going to oversaturate your one belt. And so that just backs up all of the miners, and that's why they're turned off. Now, if we run down to, yeah, I thought that might happen. So we have this full belt of ore that is now getting split again. And you can see it's being split into less than a full belt on either side. And some of these smelters aren't running because they're not getting enough iron ore. So this is kind of another, we were talking a few episodes ago about whether it's ore side or smelting side kind of problems. This is another problem you have where it's kind of ore side, but if you just look at this belt, it doesn't look like it's ore side because this belt is full. This just means, though, we need to transport more ore to the smelters than one single belt can provide. So you have some red belt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come up here to this length of belt up here. Now there's basically two options at this point. We could either continue this double that I have going here, And obviously that will literally double the throughput, right? We have now 2 belts of whatever speed this is transporting materials down, or you can upgrade them to red belt, which I believe is also just double speed. Doesn't actually say in game, but we can look that up. But basically it does a similar thing, right? It'll send more ore per second down the direction. So I'll bring this other one, or you can do both, which is kind of what we're doing now. And if I connect these, eventually it'll all show up and connect, and you'll see that we'll be getting more ore to these areas, and then all of these smelters will start to turn on because our throughput has increased. I don't have any repair packs to fix my car. You so rudely collided into me.
I think we both had a part to play in that.
It's especially amusing when there's, very slight server lag going on, and,
Oh, no, I must admit I was
amusing.
totally not paying attention.
I was actively trying to avoid you, which was probably the problem. I should have just driven, normally, and you would have missed. So here now we have and you can see up here the ore is now spread out. It's not backed up anymore. We've got a little bit of backing up going in here because there's probably let's see, actually it might be the splitter at this point that is too slow. But you can see we're delivering much more ore to our smelters now, and we'll get a lot more iron out as a result. So that kind of takes care of this, at least for the meantime, which sort of negates our need to do trains immediately, but trains are cool. So I think that should be our next task, but that will probably have to be next episode at this point.
All right, well, in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner and Rotype signing out.